Right, one little discussion that we do have to have when we're concerned with the power rule and product rule is we have to remember that we sometimes have signs in there, and not signs in the exponent, but signs on our numbers, so we have negative numbers involved. All right, and we want to remember that something that looks like this is not the same as something that looks like this. We talked with this right at our beginning with exponents, but we need to talk about this again. Remember, if that negative sign is not in parentheses, it is not included with the exponent. So our first one will be the opposite of 5 times 5, which will give us negative 25. The second one is negative 5 times negative 5, because that parenthesis is enclosed around that negative sign. And this gives us positive 25. So we have two same numerical results, but two different signs. All right. So when we start looking at something like this problem here, I have a negative 5a squared in parentheses squared. You can apply the power rule, but you must remember that when you're working with the power rule, first of all, there's an imaginary 1 there, right? You have negative 5 to the 1 times 2, which gives us this idea. And then the a squared squared, so multiplication. I like to, when I have the power rule and signs, and seeing as I'm not giving you any powers really higher than 3, I would take the extra time to go ahead and write this out as the product rule. Now there's no doubt in your mind that I have negative 5 times negative 5. It's a little bit harder to see in this form. All right. Now negative 5 times negative 5, negative and negative gives me a positive 25. And then we go ahead and add our exponents. So 2 plus 2 gives me a to the 4. Right. So when we're talking negatives, it might be worth your time to go ahead and write it out. It really is up to you. Now, if we decide not only to have one on the inside, but also have one on the outside, this is a little bit more fun. I would still go ahead and take the inside and write it out twice. Now, we must do the exponent first. We must. Do not try to do that negative times a negative gives you a positive. That's not going to work out for you. So remember, order of operations, exponents is greater than multiplication. So exponent must be done first. Right. What I like to do with this is, first of all, ignore that outside negative sign and pretend like it's not there. Right? And I'm going to go ahead and take my negative 2x cubed, and because my exponent is 2, write it out twice. And I'm going to work with just this piece first. Right? So I have my negative 2 times a negative 2, which gives me a positive 4. And x to the 3 plus 3, which is 6. And now that negative sign is going to tag on after the fact because it was not in parentheses. It's a horrible arrow. All right. So in this case, your answer is negative. And if you had gone ahead and accidentally done the multiplication first, the negative times a negative, you would have gotten the wrong answer. All right. I would love for you to go ahead and pause and try this one. We did the same one in class today. So I would like you to go ahead and try this one. Remember, this one needs to be written out 3 times. And I would totally go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to tell you a little secret. So go ahead, pause, try it. When you got it done, go ahead and hit start again. All right. So I have negative 2a squared b8, negative 2a squared b8, and negative 2a squared b8. I make sign errors too. I like to sometimes write them out. All right. You can also go ahead and rearrange these. You're totally allowed. This is all multiplication. I have a commutative property. I could go ahead and swap the order of all my numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and put my negative 2's together. I'm going to put my a squareds together. And my b to the 8's together. And for those of you that have trouble seeing a lot of things all jumbled up, this might be a solution to that, to go ahead and just get it all written out. Now, a negative times a negative gives me a positive, and 2 times 2 is 4. That 4 is going to be multiplied by negative 2, and 4 times negative 2, positive and a negative give me a negative, and this should be 8. Okay, we have a, and we're going to add the exponents. Now we're in the product rule. 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6, so we have a to the 6th. And 8 plus 8 plus 8 gives us b to the 24. Okay, and I promised you a little trick, so I'm going to go ahead and let you know. Notice here I have a square, right? And previously I had a square. Now without the parenthesis, without the negative on the outside, anything that has an even exponent should come out positive. Anything that has an odd exponent with that negative inside should come out negative, right? So any odd exponent, so any even exponent is going to be positive. So anything squared, if it's negative, this is always going to be a positive. If it's a negative on the inside, but there's like a cube or an odd, it's going to be negative, right? So something that you can use if you remember it. If you don't, just write it out and do the math. All right? I got one more here for you. Now that we mix everything up, including our negative sign. Now notice that our negative on this one does not have an exponent on the outside. So this one's actually pretty easy. Go ahead and pause it, give it a try, and come back when you're done. All right, now order of operations says I have to take care of this guy here first, so this must be done first. I'm going to show you a little trick. All right, even though this isn't negative, I'm going to go ahead and write it out. Okay, and write it out twice. And then I'm going to go ahead and write my second one. Now it's all product rule. I could take it a step further, put my numbers together. And my x squareds. Now remember, not all your exponents are the same, so be careful. And now I can go ahead and do my math. So 3 times 3, they're both positive, gives me a 9. 9 times negative 2 gives me negative 18. Okay. Now notice that my exponent of 2 gave me a positive result here, but there wasn't no negative on the inside. X to the 2 plus 2 is x to the 4. 4 plus 7 will give me x to the 11. Y to the 7 plus 7 is 14. 14 plus 3 is 17. And I am done. So go ahead, and there's a couple of these I'd like you to look at, as well as working on the problems, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good day.